So what is stress? It's a set of symptoms that arise in our body when we have stuff going on in our life. Some stress can be useful because it motivates us to do things. It comes up when we feel threatened by something. Too little money, not enough time, no dinner for tea, etc., etc. But when we have too much of something, either all at once or over a long period of time, we begin living with higher levels of tension and stress on a regular basis. And we can develop all sorts of symptoms and reactions. And once our stress limit's reached, we can become overwhelmed and move into trauma reactions. We can become overwhelmed by lots of stress over time or by one specific traumatic event, and our reactions can be shown on a graph like this. So on the left of our graph, we've got the stress levels that we're experiencing in our bodies, and we call that our activation level. And on the bottom of the graph, we've got the number of stresses we have in our lives. So that's our stressor levels. So we'll use blue arrows on the graph to show us the increased activation we have in our bodies, our fight or flight responses, where our nervous systems provide more energy to our bodies so that we can act, and we call these hot symptoms. And we'll use brown arrows to show deactivation, and that's where the nervous system is removing energy from our bodies. And these are our freeze responses, and we call these reactions cold symptoms. So the nervous system has 5 states: 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in this video, we're going to look at each state along with its symptoms one at a time. So if we live at the point where the lines meet on the bottom, on the left at state 0, we're not experiencing any stress, and we don't have anything making us stressed. But when a stressor comes along, the more stress it holds, the more it affects us. And the blue arrow shows that. The bigger the stressor, the higher our stress levels will go. And bear in mind, any traumatic situation can take you straight to state 3 or 4, regardless of where you started out. Now, right up until we reach the gold arrow, which is our overwhelm point, we're experiencing activation in our nervous system, and that continues through every state. Once we go past the overwhelm point, the nervous system begins the deactivation as well, and that's shown by the brown arrow. So in state 0, we're very calm. We're relaxed, we're present, we're conscious of our surroundings and other people, and we know what we're doing. However, when stress happens, the amount of activation in our nervous system increases. So our nervous system is saying, get ready, and we go to state 1. So state 1 is where we experience things like irritability and anxiety, tension and insomnia, and we can be hypersensitive to everything and start to worry about things that we wouldn't normally worry about. And we can have repetitive thoughts that bother us, and sometimes we can get stuck with those thoughts and become unable to think about anything else. So we ruminate about whatever it is that's going on. And then when more stress happens, we get even more activated and we move into state 2. Now we can move into state 2 in a variety of ways. So, for example, we might be living in a more stressed state, so we're in state 1 all the time and we get used to it. We don't even notice that we're there. But when a new stressor arrives, our nervous system responds by gearing up to the next state, state 2. Or we could have a shock or a traumatic event that creates a lot of stress all at once. Or we could have something small happen on top of old trauma that's the last straw and it overwhelms us. So state 2 is like a little continuum of all of its own, and at one end you might experience anger, and in the middle fury, and at the overwhelm point rage. And it's here that you can experience panic attacks because your breathing gets faster, and you might even think that you're going to die. You might feel really sweaty and hot, and the symptoms can be really intense, but they don't last a long time. And when we get to the end of state 2, it's the point at which someone can lift a car to save the life of someone trapped under it. It's the point at which we fight or run for our lives, or where we become frozen and unable to do anything at all. So we've got very little control over our reactions at this point. Our prehistoric brain takes over to ensure that we survive And if we can't cope with all the information we need to take in, we move past the point of overwhelm and into state 3. So state 3 is where the symptoms become trauma responses rather than stress responses, because the nervous system becomes overwhelmed and cold symptoms begin. We've still got the old ones going on, but new symptoms are happening too. So in state 3, even though we've passed the overwhelm point, we've still got the activation going on in our body. So we still have fast breathing, increased hyperventilation, increased sweating, anger, fury, rage, and we can still have panic attacks. But what's also going on is the nervous system is deactivating us. So it's sending us into a freeze response, taking the energy out of our body, getting us calmer, producing opiates in the brain so that we don't feel any pain. And then it's getting us ready in case we die. And that means we can experience an emotional, physical collapse. We can be depressed, lethargic, feel heavy, hopeless, despairing, sleepy. We can have slow thoughts, we can be confused, and we can feel actually physically cold. And because both activation and deactivation are happening at the same time, it can be utterly exhausting to be in state 3. And if we don't feel safe, if there's no safety available to us, we can't recover. So we continue down into state 4. And in state 4, we still have the activation, but we've got a lot of deactivation going on as well, because we're retreating to safety inside ourselves. We're moving away from the world and other people. So we become dissociated, and the cold symptoms you can feel in this state are numbness, no emotions, so you're calm, but you're not actually feeling anything. You can feel disembodied or disconnected or kind of floaty, and you might have out-of-body experiences. So we can feel safe in state 4 because nothing touches us, but we also feel empty. So we witness stuff, but we're not part of it. We don't have feelings about it. So state 4 and state 0 look similar because you're calm in both of them, but they're very different in reality, because in state 0 you're present, you're associated to yourself and others, so you're in control of what's going on in your life, whereas in state 4 you're not present, you're disassociated, you're not there. And when you're in state 4, all of the symptoms of states 1 to 3 are still there, but it's like you have one foot on the accelerator and one on the brake, and you're not going anywhere. It's going on, but you simply aren't aware of any of the symptoms. So there are some important things to remember. So firstly, everybody has a nervous system. You're not the only one who has these symptoms. Everybody's nervous system works the same way. So anyone can experience any 1, 2, 5 or all of the symptoms that we've been talking about. But the way that your nervous system deals with the symptoms you have, how your symptoms play out, is unique to you, because nobody else has had your experiences. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you don't want to miss out on the others, if you'd like to receive notifications about the other videos in the series, please subscribe to this YouTube channel or join our email list at www.athenacounselingservices.com/get notified.